Welcome back, it's me, Lou. And today I'm here for another action figure unboxing and review. And today we are putting the spotlight on this. It's the new Disney Mirrorverse Sulley action figure from McFarlane Toys. Okay, so far this is the fourth figure in the series that I've reviewed. Previously I reviewed Belle, Mickey, Goofy, and now today's going to be Sulley. I highly recommend, if you haven't watched those those previously recorded 3 videos, that you check those out now. Those 3 videos kind of go a little bit more in depth about talking about the Mirrorverse and this line of action figures and all sorts of other fun stuff. But the difference between this video and that is that this video is the first video of the Mirrorverse series where I'm actually going to open up the figure. As I've stated in the previous videos, I wanted to get an additional set of these action figures before I opened them, just because I'm also a mint on card collector, and for me these figures, I think they're beautiful while they're still on the card. They're great to display, and they just have a really cool presence about them. And lucky for me, I found a second copy of Sulley the other day, so I'm going to open that up. So today, we're going to really just really get down and focus on the figure and the articulation, all the stuff that I didn't get to talk about with the other figures. So check out the Belle video, check out the Mickey video, and check out the Goofy video. And we'll get to this one. Alright, so what we have here is Sulley. Sulley is a much beloved character from the Disney Pixar film Monsters, Inc. And this is the iteration of Sulley as he appears in the new Disney Mirrorverse video game. So Mirrorverse is actually a role-playing game that's available on mobile devices. I'm not sure if it's available now, or if it's not available now, it should be soon. It's on iOS and on Android devices. So I'm really excited to check out this figure and to open them up. Of all the 4 figures in the first wave, this is the one that I really gravitated towards when I saw it at the store. He's an amazing looking action figure. This is a really heavy figure too. He's about, I said this before in previous videos, he might be like 3 or 4 times the weight of some of the other figures. And it's one of those things where I really want to display him and hang him up on my wall, but at the same time I kind of worry because he's so heavy that I'm worried that over time the bubble just might come off the card just because of the weight of the figure. And yeah, you really get the most bang for your buck with this guy. He's a lot of plastic. He looks amazing, and I'm excited. Okay, so one thing I like about this line of action figures is that it really reminds me of the old video game Kingdom Hearts. And that was a collaboration between Disney and Squaresoft. So they took Disney characters and kind of injected them into like an RPG sort of world. And the design aesthetic for that was very JRPG. It was very anime-like. If you played games like Final Fantasy, a lot of the characters on the Disney end, they were kind of their looks were kind of modified a little, so that they had costumes that really fit into that kind of like role-playing, that Japanese role-playing kind of world. And the one thing I like about these Mirrorverse figures is that they still kind of take that concept a little, where they're taking these beloved iconic Disney characters, but they're still putting them in an RPG element. But the costume designs feel a little bit more on the Western end. So, you know, you have stuff that looks more like a traditional Western-looking wizard or mage. This guy here, Sulley, his body armor, it kind of reminds me of like a Space Marine Terminator. I mean, it's really cool. So I like everything that Disney's doing. I love the way McFarlane's presented these action figures. As I've stated in the previous videos, when they first released the marketing images, I was kind of lukewarm to the idea of this because I didn't really understand what the Mirrorverse was. It wasn't until I saw these figures in hand and realized that it was based off a video game that I got a little bit more excited about them. So I grabbed the entire first wave and some of the additional 7-inch figures, which I'll review in a future video. But for today, we're going to take a look at Sulley. Right off the bat, we'll take a look at his package. not Sully's package specifically, but the actual card he comes on. So examining the package, it's beautiful. I love this kind of like really round bubble that they're using, and it kind of, for me, it kind of resembles like maybe like it's very like a crystal ball kind of shape. But I think examining it more closely, I believe the reason why it's a circle is because I think on the back of the card there's like a portal, which I think is indicative of the game. You know, maybe that's the actual mirror that the characters cross through to go into the Mirrorverse. So like the other characters, Sulley has a color that identifies the character. For this one, it's blue. Some of the other characters, I believe, like Goofy had orange for his title marker. Mickey might have had yellow, and I believe Belle had green. Sulley here is classified as a tank character. So if you're familiar with like video games and RPGs, he's a tankier character. He's kind of like the heavy. You know, when he's the guy that's not going to necessarily move really quick, but the amount of damage he deals is going to be a lot because of his size and his strength. The only thing is that since he's slower, you know, he might be more prone to like, you know, ranged attacks or like quicker and faster adversaries. Over here on the lower right corner, we have a nice character portrait. And on the left, we have a trading card, which is a great little bonus for the action figure, and we'll get to that in a minute. Examining the back of the card, we have that very mysterious, very well-rendered illustration of the back. And you don't really see who these characters are outside of their silhouettes. It's a beautiful image. I believe we have Belle up here, we have Sulley, Jack Sparrow, we have Buzz Lightyear. And I'm unsure of who these other characters are. I know we have Mickey Mouse here. Possibly Goofy might be one of these. I'm not sure. One thing I did mention to other videos, it was kind of disappointing for me that they didn't list any sort of description or bio on the back of the card. It would have been nice if they had a small little paragraph describing what the Mirrorverse is, you know, who these characters are, what makes them different than the versions we know of the characters. Because as you can see here, in the first wave, we're getting Belle, Goofy, Mickey, and Sulley. But they're breaking away from their very traditional looks. Belle here, instead of, you know, she's out goes the ballroom gown, and here she's dressed up as like an adventurer or a ranger. Likewise, Goofy, he kind of looks more like, he looks a little bit more Avatar-ish in his appearance. Mickey, he looks like a mage or a wizard. And Sulley, being the tank character, he's wearing all this crazy power armor. So it's very, very cool looks to these characters. It really reinforces that action RPG, and it looks amazing. Okay, so the moment of truth, we're going to open this guy up, but we're not going to open up this one specifically. This is my nice carded one. So here's the one I found at the store. I hate this more than anything. Alright, so someone needs to explain to me why collectors feel the need to damage these packages. Someone once explained it to me before that some collectors do it to prevent scalpers from you know, buying these toys and then reselling them. But in all honesty, I'd rather have a scalper buy the toy than me finding it on the shelf wrecked like this. If you're a grown adult and you feel the need to like damage someone else's property, and I mean all over the sake of a toy, you know, you're just a complete loser. If you have to like hide action figures in the aisles so that you could pick them up later, or you know, you want to get them for your friends, or if you're one of those people that figure swaps, you know, I don't know, you're a grown man, and I think you should have, you know, much more important priorities than like vandalizing action figures. You know, that's just my opinion. But like I said, I'd rather have a scalper get this toy and sell it for like markup than to have someone who thinks he's doing the community a service by damaging these, you know. So you're a loser. let's just leave it at that. Okay, so we're gonna open up Sulley. I'm really excited about this. I'm really looking forward to if I could find the other figures in the wave, because I really want to get those loose also. One thing I mentioned in my other videos is that one reason why I'm also holding off on opening these is because I believe there's a possibility that McFarlane Toys might do a running change just because of the package design. Because on the back of the package here, there's no indication of this being a video game. There's no link to the website. There's no information about directing you to like the Apple iOS store or the Google Play Store. But on the 7-inch figures, they kind of have that information. So I have a feeling that you know, if Disney or the video game company notices that, they might call out McFarlane and say, hey, make sure you go back and correct the back of the cards just to give us the information about the video game. Because I think that's the big selling point of these figures, is that they want you to also be into the video game. And the 7-inch figures, their package design actually has, you know, some of the video game information on there and tells you where to go to get the game, whereas this one doesn't. So, and here's that portal I think I was talking about. So maybe this is the mirror that they cross over into to get into the Mirrorverse. I don't know. I won't know until I, you know, get more on the game. Okay, so here's Sulley. And before I forget, remember there's a trading card that comes with this. So don't be quick to throw this away. Take the card out and... Alright, so here's the trading card, and it's taped to this insert here. So just very slowly... Oh, look at me. Lucky lucky me. I got 2 trading cards. All right, that's awesome. Okay, so just be very careful and remove the tape so you don't damage the card. And there we go. So yeah, I was very fortunate, and I actually got 2 trading cards. The card quality is actually, it's a nice stock. It's a nice glossy finish on both sides. I want to say it doesn't feel as thick as, like, you know, a normal trading card you might get, like, you know, with a Magic the Gathering or like a Topps baseball card or something, but it feels roughly the same kind of thickness as this cardboard insert. Maybe just a little bit stiffer, and it has a glossy finish on both sides. And one thing I do like about this trading card is that it provides us with more information about the character. I would have loved to have seen a bio on the back of the card, but for me, to get a trading card, I think is a much cooler thing and a much better way of, you know, gathering information about the character. And it's cool too because if you collect the entire series, you know, you can put this in a trading card binder, and you can just have a collection of trading cards for this, and you have all the bio information. It lists character Sulley. He's a tank. And here's his stats. It looks like his attack is 7 out of 10. His defense is 5 out of 10. I'm not sure what this... It looks like maybe aim or marksmanship. It's 1 out of 10. A green heart, that might indicate health, and that's 7 out of 10. So that might indicate maybe his endurance or his dexterity. As for his bio, this monstrously charismatic leader is fiercely protective. In fact, he's just plain fierce. Sulley defends himself and his friends with advanced tech, slamming foes with his shield and stunning those foolish enough to get in his way. Awesome, 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 awesome. Really, really happy. Very cool that for like a $12 figure that you get, you know, a trading card with it. You know, it's nice that you get a display stand with some action figures or additional accessories. But for me, as much as I love those things, I can't say no to a trading card. It's really cool. It's awesome how they, like, you know, give you all the bio information, his stat information according to the video game. It's awesome. Now, first impressions of Sulley while he's still in this plastic tray. I can't say this enough. Heavy. This is a heavy, hefty action figure. There's a lot of weight to this guy. It's kind of like when you, like, let's say that you collect Marvel Legends and there's the Build-A-Figure, and you finally get around to building the Build-A-Figure, and that thing just weighs like a brick. That's like the impression I get with this. It's just, he's a lot of plastic. He's very heavy. He feels like I'm getting my money's worth. It's a beautiful looking figure. Like right off the bat, just look at that. He has this fun color scheme, this really solemn expression. The details look really well done. And as you can see on the back, there's some hollow bits here because it looks like you have to plug his tail in and the rest of his backpack. All right, let's take Sulley out. All right, one thing that surprised me when I found this guy at the store is that this, of all the 4 figures, he was the only one left on the shelf, and that kind of took me back. Just because for me, he looked like the guy that everyone should want, just because he's so much bigger and heftier, and he looks funner to play with. I get it. Maybe, you know, people probably theorized that they wanted Mickey or Goofy or Belle because they're a little bit more iconic, especially when it comes to, when you think of Disney and the, you know, the IP. You know, Mickey Mouse is the mascot, so, you know, there's probably a Disney fan that thought, hey, Mickey's the one to get. But I'm telling you, in terms of an action figure, this is the one. Sulley, this is the cream of the crop. All right, so we have his tail, the lower piece of his armor on the back. Oh, wow, this is a great figure. Okay, so we have Sulley here. Nice and heavy. I stated this before in the other videos, so articulation is going to vary figure to figure, depending on the figure design. Like this guy, he's missing like the elbow articulation like Belle and Goofy has. This feels more like a display piece, to be honest. Just because of the limited amount of articulation. It doesn't feel like something that's going to lend itself well to like fig photography. But it's heavy. This guy's like a brick. Really cool though. All right, let's take a look how we're going to assemble this. All right, so here's the lower piece of his back armor, and it'll only go in one way. If you look here, there's a notch right there and a slight tab here, so you want to align those. And then this will plug in. There's no snap. It feels like it's just more of like a kind of like a snug, really tight fit. Here's his tail. Likewise, his tail's only going to go in one way. It's not perfectly round. If you look, one side is actually flat. And then you want to match that with the flat side here. And this doesn't snap in either. It's just kind of like a tight, snug fit. Oh man, this is nice. Okay, so what we're looking at in terms of articulation for this guy, his head is kind of bobs left or right. You know, it's not on a ball joint. I believe it's probably just pegged into his torso. So there's no up or down movement. It's not going to rotate or turn. It's just going to kind of just, it's almost like a clock face. It's either just going to go like this or like that. I'm feeling a little bit of articulation in his waist. So he has waist articulation. Unfortunately, he's a tank, like, you know, much like he's described as. So as heavy as he is, he's very more squat. And unfortunately, that means he's not going to have any leg articulation at all. So his legs don't move, his ankles don't move, no knee bend. It's like I said, this is very statuesque, so it feels like it's more of a display piece. His arms go up, out like that, and they can rotate. There's no wrist articulation, no elbow articulation. So yeah, it's like I said, it's very, very limited. This kind of reminds me of like the older toys you'd get in the late 90s, early 2000s, where there was a focus more so on just like the sculpting and the detail than articulation. Just because I think by that time period, all the toy collectors were, you know, the kids of the 80s grown up, and they were at the point where I think they were more concerned with having really nice display pieces. We're at the point now where people kind of want the best of both worlds. They want a good display piece, but they also want articulation. If you're one of those people that loves a lot of articulation, you're going to hate this figure just because it doesn't really have much articulation at all. The shield here, it kind of rotates. I'm not sure if it comes out or not. I'm not going to force it. So yeah, the articulation's limited, but don't let that turn you off from this figure. Examining it, the detail is really nice. The sculpting's really well done. They do a great job of taking this character and just really bringing it to life in this physical 3D model. He has a beautiful expression here. He's looking very solemn. Now, I would have appreciated it if they gave us this expression, the one on the card. I love him here with this kind of like, you know, this grin. It looks more personable, looks more likable. This one here, it's not bad, but the expression is kind of more serious in tone. Who knows? Maybe in the future they'll give us a repaint or reissue it with, you know, maybe a different armor set and give us this head. In terms of the paint application, it's decent. There's these little blotches in his fur that look like it's probably like lightly airbrushed on. There's a nice copper trim along his armor. His armor is kind of like a burnt yellow. Yeah, it looks like they could have added more paint application to this, but you know, for $12 and the amount of action figure I'm getting plus this card, I think it's worth it. And if you look here, there's some paint detail that's omitted. Like on the back of his shoulders, he has these kind of like, I'm not sure if they're like pipes, vents, or blasters. And on here, the tops are painted like with an aluminum gunmetal finish, whereas here they're kind of just left blank and bare. Likewise, on his shoulder pads, there's more detailed covered here with these metallic plates, whereas on here, it's missing the color application. But I'm not going to fault it too much. You know, there's some red here that's omitted. You know, I mean, if you're a customizer, it's stuff that can easily be corrected. But otherwise, for what you're paying, I think this is a beautiful, beautiful figure. It's really well sculpted. It's really heavy. It's a nice desk toy. It's a nice display piece. Yeah, for me, this was the winning figure of the lot. And I'm looking forward to hopefully getting the other ones soon, just to see where the articulation is with those. These shoulder pads are kind of rubbery, so they're going to move a little, which is nice. So if, you know, but I think this might have been unneeded because the articulation is kind of limited as is. Yeah, this is great. Very, very impressed with this action figure. It's definitely worth the buy if you can find it. Like here's Mickey. Now Mickey's taller. He looks a little bit taller than this guy, but in terms of the weight, this thing feels like a feather, and this thing feels like a brick. So yeah, if you like your toys nice and hefty, and you know feel like you're getting a lot for your money, this is the guy to get. It just looks really cool too. And this is something too that you can easily just blend into your like other toy lines, like maybe like Masters of the Universe or something, because even though it's Sulley, he's wearing this crazy battle armor and his proportions are a little bit stockier, so it seems like he'd fit in well with like a Masters of the Universe shelf. And the back of his armor kind of reminds me of like that Stormtrooper back plate. And even how the Stormtroopers have that kind of like little, I don't know what it is, that little cylindrical tube at the bottom of their waist. And here's his shield. Looks really awesome. Yeah, I love this color scheme too. The burnt yellow against this kind of like teal color. It provides for some great contrast, and it's a really nice character design. Yeah, I can't say enough positive things about this figure or this entire line of action figures. They're amazing. Okay, so let's wrap this video up. If I had to rate this figure numerically on a scale of 1 through 10, my first thought is a 7. 7 to an 8. And when I say 7, I mean a really high 7. The only reason why I'm saying a 7 is because of the articulation. For me, I'm content with it being limited like this, but I could picture a lot of people being disappointed that he doesn't do more. At the same time, though, he's a hefty character. He's a tankier character. And, you know, it is what it is. This feels like it should be a display piece. It's nothing you're necessarily going to really play with or use for fig photography because it's such a limited in terms of its articulation. But I think it's a great start for this line of action figures. He's very menacing. He's very intimidating. It's a really cool design, really hefty figure, and I love that you get a trading card with it. So yeah, either a 7 to 7.5. I mean, an 8 at the highest. At 8 at the highest, but I really think this guy is about a 7 to 7.5. But it's like I said, it's a high 7, high 7.5. The only reason why I'd rate him higher is if they just gave more articulation. But otherwise, I think it's great. So if you're a Disney fan or if you're a fan of the video game, I think you need this. If you're a fan of McFarlane toys, you might be hesitant on this, and if you are, I'd highly suggest then maybe look at the 7-inch line of the Mirrorverse figures. There's 2 versions of Jack Sparrow in that line and a Buzz Lightyear, and I believe those are priced at $19, and I'll review those in the future. I think those look amazing as well. So if you're more accustomed to the larger action figure from whether like the DC Multiverse or the Mortal Kombat line from McFarlane or the Warhammer line, those larger Mirrorverse figures might be more so for you. Unless you're a completist and you just want everything Mirrorverse, just get everything. And right now that's going to be my strategy. I'm really liking this line a lot. I'm all in right now. So we'll see where this goes. So once again, my name is Lou. Thank you so much for checking out this video. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I have lots and lots of toy videos, so check those out. If you are a returning subscriber or viewer, thank you so much for your support. I appreciate all the comments, likes, and just, whatever. It's always great when people share their stories with me. I enjoy reading your comments and, hearing your feedback. It means a lot. So until the next video, go out there, be safe, have fun, and collect lots and lots of toys. And I'll see you soon. Bye.